tight security at the borders, more illegal immigrants are heading to the ocean to try to get here into the U.S. off the coast of, oh, well, San Diego.
They're using boats, that is for sure. And David Davis is out there with a group of folks who is helping out and trying to spot some of these folks. Good morning, David.
Yeah, we're in Pacific Beach along Law Street, where it's a very popular spot for surfers and for tourists to look out over the ocean. But somebody else is looking out over the ocean this morning. Joining me are a couple of gentlemen with the Border Patrol Auxilliary. Carl Braun, good morning to you,
Good morning.
Now, your friend here, and what's his name again?
It's Mike McKenzie.
Mike McKenzie, and he is looking through a device that I just looked through. That's an incredible device. Tell us about it.
Sure it is. It's a $16,000 thermal imaging scope, so it can see for about a mile. Anything that has a heat signature, it'll report back to us. So whether that be a human being or a boat engine, even if the lights are off, we can see them from a mile out as they're coming into shore.
Now, I expected to look through that and just see something real vague, but it looks like daytime.
Yeah, it's pretty crystal.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see, and you say out to a mile, you can spot just about anything.
Yeah, along the ocean, we can get actually a little bit farther because it's cold out there. And so anything that has a heat signature is going to show up, from a bird to whatever. And so we can see anything that moves out there.
All right, let's back up just a little bit. The purpose of you being out here obviously is illegal immigrants have found a new way, and I should say smugglers have found a new way to get illegals into the United States by sea instead of by land, because land has been shut down over the years to a much greater degree.
Sure, the Border Patrol in the last 5 years has nearly tripled in size. We have the new bollard-style fencing over the high traffic areas. They have new equipment and so on. So it really has gotten very difficult for the drug smugglers and people smugglers to come over the brown border or our mountains and deserts. And so they've turned to the blue border, which is our oceans.
Now, as a member of the Auxiliary, what do you do when you spot something?
We notify two different organizations. The first call that we make is to the Border Patrol Coastal Watch, the Unified Coastal Watch, and the second one would be to America's Waterway Watch, which is the Coast Guard.
How, you say you can't really tell us exactly how many times this happens, but talk about your successes.
Well, you know, when you're up here along the beach, it's a long coastline, and so when we get out here with our scope, we're able to see just about anything that moves out there with our night vision as well. We'll put people anywhere along the border that want to go out onto the blue border, from Imperial Beach all the way up to Huntington Beach. And so you can see boats, you can see them hitting shore. What they'll do is they'll come in, they'll hit the shore, and in 60 seconds they're in a Suburban or an Escalade and heading north. So it's been pretty successful.
You have over 100 members, and you're about to go on a recruiting process.
Well, sure. In February, we're going to announce a new project for Blue Border Operations, which is called HSCAN, or Homeland Security Citizens Action Network. It's very similar to something that the Coast Guard set up in Seattle, and basically we'll be recruiting residents who live along the ocean, any citizen that wants to go through an online training program. They'll be given an identification number, a telephone number they can call in, and if they see something suspicious, they can call us, and we'll determine whether or not it's valid and send it on into the Border Patrol.
Now, for the first time that we're aware of, last weekend, a weekend before last, I should say, a couple of illegals died trying to do this, trying to get into the United States by sea. How important do you feel that your job is out here so often?
Well, I lead the Border Patrol Auxiliary Search and Rescue Team as well, and so these are human beings. This is very important, whether it be in the mountains or the deserts or whether they're coming in the ocean. They really have no idea what perils are awaiting them when they try to come to the U.S. through these other means. And so it's very important for us, because if we see people coming in, if they're coming in and their boat's in trouble, or they get onto the beaches and they're injured or whatever, we can also help them. We're all trained professional rescuers.
All right, Carl Braun with the Border Patrol Auxiliary. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Dan and Sandra, I'm going to send it back to you. I'm live on Law Street along Pacific Beach, KUSI.
Well, with the tighter security at the borders, more illegal immigrants have been coming over here by using boats. We've seen it pretty much every month for a while.
It's been happening.
Yeah.
KUSI's David Davis is in Pacific Beach this morning with more on why and what's being done. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Dan. Yes, it is a recent phenomenon. Over the past couple of years, anyway, it has increased, obviously, with our borders on land being tightened so much. The alternative is to come by sea, and it is happening with regular frequency now, almost day to day sometimes. And joining me this morning is a group that is trying to prevent that from happening and at least monitoring it. And you see him, one of the members right there with the Border Patrol Auxilliary using a high-tech device. And joining me this morning is Carl Braun on this side of me to talk about this. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Now, we are on Law Street in Pacific Beach, overlooking the ocean, obviously a very popular place for surfers and for tourists just to look out at the ocean, but there's nothing touristy about this.
No, there's definitely not. You know, due to the increased border security, the fence, tripling of the size of the Border Patrol, new technology and so on, it's pushed some of the traffic now. It used to come through the deserts and mountains, it's pushed them out to sea.
Now, let's explain the device and tell me who he is, first of all, and tell me about that device.
Well, sure. This is Mike McKenzie. He's from Grass Valley, California. He's down here working with us for the week. We do blue and brown border operations. Blue border operations are on the ocean. Brown would be in the deserts and mountains. What Mike is doing right now is he's looking through a $16,000 thermal imaging scope to look out across the beach and the ocean. Anything that has a heat signature out there, whether it be a person or a boat engine or whatever, even with the lights off, we'll be able to see it. And if it comes to shore, we'll report it to the Border Patrol.
Now, because that is so expensive, you have only one of those, but you also use this, and I want to show it around your neck here. You have several of these, and several of your members have those?
Yeah, we have numerous of these. These are night vision scopes. They run about $3,000 each, and we use these particularly when there's moonlit nights. We need some light, which we get a lot of right here along the shoreline, and we use these to see if anybody's walking along the beach or anyone's come ashore.
Now, you're all volunteers. About how many of them are you?
We have about 140 in California. We have people in Puerto Rico. We have about 37 people in Puerto Rico. We have a chapter of about 20 people in Arizona.
And this may be obvious to a lot of people, but why exactly do you do this, and you do it with regularity?
Well, you know, the border is porous. You know, according to the Department of Homeland Security, they only have operational control over about 10% of our borders and our coastlines. And the citizen is the most valuable resource that DHS has to provide them with intelligence. We're out here to provide that extra level, extra set of eyes, if you will, to help them secure our border until they have the resources to be able to do it 100% on their own.
And obviously, you're not part of enforcement. What do you do when you spot something?
We work with the Border Patrol Unified Coastal Watch and America's Waterway Watch program. So if we see something out here, we have two numbers that we call. We let them know what we've seen, how many people, where they're coming in, the exact location, and so on.
Now, last weekend, for the first time that we're aware of anyway, there were a couple of deaths involved in this. This is a very dangerous thing that I'm sure many of the illegal immigrants don't understand as they leave port down to Mexico.
Well, I'm sure many of them are come from Oaxaca or points inland, have absolutely no concept of what it is to get on an ocean boat, especially a ponga boat, and to ride for hours out in the ocean. So yeah, it's a very dangerous thing. It's very dangerous to cross the border in the deserts and mountains as well.
It used to be when the first a couple of years back they were using small power craft. Now you call it a ponga. What exactly is that?
Well, ponga is a Spanish fishing boat, and they can hold anywhere. We've seen pongas in Puerto Rico that are holding 150 people, and so they will bring these small fishing boats up. They have a relatively low profile in the water. And they'll bring as many people as they can. They'll hit the beach, and you see right here, we're right on the road, so they can hit the beach and within a matter of 60 seconds be in a black Escalade and heading north to Los Angeles.
How successful do you think your group has been?
I think it's been very successful. You know, for operational security reasons and for the safety of our border watchers, we don't ever tell how many people we've seen or how many boats or where they're at or anything like that. But I can tell you that it's been a very successful effort so far.
Carl Braun, thank you for talking with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we are on Law Street in Pacific Beach, and these gentlemen are here periodically, every so often, just to be checking what is going on our waterways. And it's a service that the Border Patrol obviously can't handle everything by themselves, so the auxiliary is here to help them. I'll send it back to you, Dan and Sandra.
Sending in the reinforcements, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, David.